Hello, we're going to work out who the team of the season in La Liga is this season. That's what we're going to do here on Tifo Football. Hello, I'm JJ Bull, and I'm joined by Spain writer, Spain expert. It's Dermot Corrigan. Hello, Dermot.
Hey JJ, how's it going?
Really good. As you can see, Dermot lives not here because he is the Spain expert, you see, so he has to be closer to home to make sure it's good. We're also joined by Maram Albaharna.
Hello. Hi.
You doing well? Good.
Yeah.
Let's just get into this, right? So rather than teasing a team forever, what we do, Dermot's picked a team and I'm going to annoy him by changing some of it, even though he's the expert. So Dermot's team, could you tell me what your team is, Dermot? Just don't tell me anything about them, just tell me what the team is.
Yeah, I'm going with Courtois, Maffeo, Piqué, David Garcia from Osasuna, Javi Galan from Celta Vigo, Fernando, Fekir, Pedri, and then up front, Benzema, Vinicius, and Maram.
It's a strong team, but as I've said, I'm going to make this difficult. Except for when we start with the goalkeeper, so Thibaut Courtois, I'm fine with that. But move on to Pablo Maffeo, who is a right back playing for Mallorca. That's correct, isn't it?
That is correct.
Dermot is the expert. Now, Maffeo, I remember Maffeo was at Man City as a youth player. Lionel Messi once said he was the toughest opponent he'd ever faced after being stuck man-marking him tight. But Maram, I believe you have some data viz to tell us why he's actually good.
Yeah, let me tell you why he's an interesting pick. Simply because why he's so good as a right back is how he contributes offensively. So a lot from XG from shot creation, XG from ball progression, so really getting into those creation phases and scoring goals. Now, where he might be a bit deficient is his ball retention ability, because he's so creative, looking to get that final third pass, might not retain it as well, but still, he's very good in terms of defending intensity, sticking to that player, man marking, closing him down, very good in those aerial duels. So, interesting pick.
What's the other graph you've got of him?
I basically have his weighted duel ratings based on the quality of the opposition.
Right.
Now, why I say he's an interesting pick is he doesn't score well when it comes to tackling open play headers. But what he does score well in is closing down dribbling players, or for example, like a Messi running down the wing. Kind of good at the set play headers, but mostly what he's really good at is contributing offensively, pressure.
And that is similar to, on the other side, Dermot, on the left back. So Javi Galan, Celta Vigo, 3 assists this season. Why have you and I put him in the team?
He's been super exciting to watch for Celta is a big reason. He bombs on down the left, gets involved. Celta throw a lot of players forward, including him, and he's been involved in a lot of their better attacking movements with those 3 assists, as you said. And he's even been linked with Barcelona this season. So he's a guy who's been around a good while. He's 29, maybe now 20 or 29. Been at Huesca, but has a late bloomer maybe, and makes it at left back, which is not a hugely competitive area in La Liga this season. There weren't a load of left backs jumping out.
Yeah, and the thing as well is that it's sort of similar to Maffeo in that he excels basically in the final third, right? Because then if you look at his numbers on FBref, he essentially looks like a winger. Yeah,
like Celta do, as I said, they throw a lot of players forward. Maybe that is the reason why they concede a lot of goals as well, and a lot of their games tend to be kind of helter-skelter, end-to-end. Coach Edward Caude likes to play that type of football, and I guess for throwing together 11 players who may not have trained very much together in the build-up to this game, it'll be good to have that type of an entertaining game.
Well, I now think it's time to do centre-backs, the most exciting of all the positions. Now, we've got, you said Piqué and
I like
Garcia.
Piqué and David Garcia from Osasuna as a partnership, and also because I think they've been both really, really good, really consistent through the season. Piqué, when he's there, Barca are a completely different team than if anybody else is playing at centre-back, which similar to another player who might come to later. And David Garcia has just been really, really consistent. Big threat at set pieces as well. 3 goals in La Liga, I think. And for bread and butter type defender, clearances, headers, he's your man.
So Garcia seems to stand out to me when we look at the data of it. So obviously Dermot's doing it because he's actually watched all these players all season long. This is the thing he's done. Whereas I have watched Wisecout. Now, when I look at data and highlights and things like that, what stands out with Garcia for me is that he is, like a threat and probably useful at defensive set pieces, but in attacking set pieces is going to be very useful because his things like clearances and aerials won is the thing that stands out for him. Whereas defensive numbers are low, which can often be the case with defenders, especially centre-backs, that they do not have as high numbers there. Whereas when we look at someone like Real Madrid won the league, Eder Militao was a huge important part of that, next to David Alaba for much of the season, Nacho there as well, Am I missing anyone important in that Real Madrid team?
No, which is why they have agreed to sign Rudiger, because they needed another centre-back for next year.
There we go. And Militao is, I would say, quite he's good with the ball, but he's quite an aggressive kind of defender, Militao. Whereas Piqué has done the things that he's done his whole career, again, quite well this season, in that he just passes the ball, like progressive passes, you see that sort of stuff, carries the ball out. But like, this is the thing. I think the data, Dermot, says that Garcia can't go in, and because Militao won the league, he's going to go in next to Piqué.
Seeing as you're in charge of this Zoom, I guess I'll have to go along with you. Militao he's been like up and down. When Alaba is there alongside him, he's had some fantastic games. He's also had some pretty ropey games, including just last weekend. Was at fault for Cadiz' goal in the game, another weak header. So when he's at his very, very best, Militao is a much better player than David Garcia, it's fair to say. When he's not, he's not. But as I say, you're in charge.
It's a whole season though, right? It's over the whole season. We don't have recency bias because this will last forever.
That's fair.
And in fact, on that note, Dermot Corrigan, what I've noticed is that you've put in Fernando as one of the midfielders here in your team now. This is the same Fernando we remember from Man City. That's the same one. Won Player of the Month in April. Is this recency bias on your behalf, or has he been one of the best players all season?
It may be biased because as soon as he won that Player of the Month for April award, he got injured and went out of the team, and Sevilla almost dropped out of the top four in La Liga. But he's been fantastic. Again, he's maybe not somebody who shows up brilliantly in the numbers because he uses his experience. He sits in the middle of the field, doesn't leave the centre circle that often, but he just enables everybody else around him to play, really well. So you notice when he's there compared to when he's not there. Again, I find it hard to have a better holding midfielder in La Liga this season. Casemiro maybe, but again, he's been somebody who's been quite erratic, whereas Fernando has had a really good season, and then you notice it when he's not there.
Well, that's what I was going to ask about, because in my head, and again, looking at data as well, Casemiro stands out again because he is one of the best players in the league, but it's obviously who's played well. Another couple of players we haven't, Casemiro's one player we haven't got in this team. Danny Parejo's another, a different sort of player altogether. But one player who people might remember from Newcastle in 2017-18 is Mikel Merino, who, explain what he is, please.
He's been really good for Real Sociedad as a box-to-box midfielder. Does a bit of everything. Not that he does any one thing outstandingly well, maybe, but he gets his foot in, he gets up and down the field, he covers every blade of grass. He's got a decent amount, 3 goals, 4 assists, something like that this season in La Liga. He's chipped in, and again, he carries the team with him. He's the kind of the motor of that Real Sociedad team. There's other guys around him like David Silva, who are obviously more creative. But Merino is a leader in that team. But just when you say that about ex-Newcastle, there's a bit of a former Premier League buzz off this team between Courtois, Maffeo, Piqué. We're going down the line, Fernando as well. But that's entirely coincidental, I'd have to say. And Merino has been very good.
Well, we've got a decision to make here. So Merino is more of a box-to-box player than a 6, but this is very much the player who goes in the 6 role. So Fernando is Dermot's pick, Maram, and he knows better than me. But I like Merino as an 8. We've got to choose one. The data shows, this is a weird thing, when you go to FBref and look at Fernando, as against other midfielders, he's got lots of deficiencies. So he's good at things like intercepting, think like a defensive midfielder, intercepting, blocking. When you compare him to centre-backs and defenders, which is where he spends a lot of his time tactically in a game between the centre-backs, he comes out looking brilliant, like all greens. So pick your player.
In very unlike Maram fashion, I'm just going to go with the vibes, so I'm going to go Merino.
Maram's picked Merino.
The vibes demanded it.
How do you feel about that, Dermot?
I think it's going to be fun when Galan and Maffeo are bombing on and Merino decides to go as well. It's going to be a fun team to watch.
I respect the decision. Next, we're going to have, so it's an easy one to put in, right? So Nabil Fekir, French player at Real Betis. You might remember him from being a wonder kid in Football Manager many years ago. He's basically fulfilled his potential, I would say, at Real Betis this year. 8 assists, 6 goals and 33 appearances. Another player we've got up is Sergio Canales, who's a teammate of his at Betis. But the decision we have is not between Fekir and Canales, but rather between Canales and Pedri. Now, I love Pedri with all of my heart and all the bones in my skeleton. But he's only played 10 games this season. Please justify, why should Pedri get in after that many games?
You could make an argument that Pedri per minute has been the most the best footballer in La Liga this season, even ahead of people come to later, Benzema, Vinicius, Courtois have been key for Madrid. He makes an amazing difference to Barca when he's in the team. They've won almost all the games when he was there, and they've lost an awful lot of games when he wasn't there. Again, he's not the only reason for that. PK's out as well, but just put Pedri into it, and he's just so natural. I love him as well. Just the way he doesn't even appear to be doing that much, maybe you could even say, in a game, but just everything around him kind of clicks together. He knows where to stand, he knows where to move the ball, he knows what's happening next. And yeah, it's hard to pick any team coming out of La Liga and not have Pedri in it at the minute, I think is fair, even though he is not fit at the moment.
Another thing as well, we don't have any Atletico players in this team. We don't have, the only Real Madrid players we've got, well, spoiler alert, we've got Vinicius Junior and Benzema coming up, but why is there, what's happened to Kroos and Modric, or Camavinga just not quite there yet? Yeah,
they've all been quite good. I guess maybe if we're picking our team of the Champions League, then they're going to come into it, and maybe they've kept their best performances for the Champions League. They're getting on a little bit. They haven't peaked as much in La Liga each week. Also, it's nice to spread it around a bit as well and include some other teams.
Yeah.
A soft spot for Betis. And on Atletico, they've just had a really awful season. It was funny, Atletico president was on the TV on Sunday talking about what a magnificent season they've had. They've worst defensive record under Simeone. They've almost 30 points less than they got last season. It's been a bit of a disaster for them. So maybe João Felix, if he had stayed fit, when he hit the purple patch earlier on around February, March, after he'd spoken to the Athletic, which is possibly coincidental or possibly not, but he was he won Player of the Month in La Liga maybe in February and was good, but Atletico haven't had a good season.
I'm putting Pedri in anyway, so I think everyone knew that. It's happened. It's done now. All right, Maram, I need you now. Our left forward is Vinicius Junior. He's good, isn't he?
Yes.
Tell me why.
I will tell you why. So let's take a look at his shot map from his previous season to get some context on how he's improved. Okay, so you have 42 shots, 3 goals, but massively underperforming his XG. Almost.
That was last season.
That was last season.
Right.
So the thing about Vinicius Junior is he gets into good positions. His finishing was so-and-so, not really good. Now let's take a look at his shot map this season. So a lot more shots, more concentrated in the box, but what's more important is his finishing has improved massively. So he has 17 goals and 12.8 XG, and he has a 0.16 XG per shot. So finishing, excellent, but nothing has really changed. His positioning has always been good. It's just that he's improving in the
just a better finisher, right?
Yes, that's it. That's pretty much it. And that's why they're reaping the rewards now.
All he needed was to just put the ball in the net as opposed to putting it wide as he had been doing before. It had trying to understand what's going on with Vinicius has been quite difficult. Even talking to some people around him, teammates, former coaches, everybody was just amazed at how he started the season. Hit a couple of wonder goals in his first few games, and then the confidence just started to flow through him. It's also been interesting watching him. He's put in an awful lot of assists recently as well. He's not just a guy who goes, goal for goal. He has amazing game understanding, and you would never think it's the same player who you'd watch for the last couple of seasons. Who was whistled at the Bernabeu, was even teammates were unhappy with him. Has been fantastic this year, and definitely deserves to add another Madrid player to the 11.
And he deserves a place on our team, which is the most important thing of all. All right, so the right side, we're playing a 4-3-3. It's Iker Muniain versus Ousmane Dembele, the guy at Barcelona, who was almost away in the January window. They kept him. Xavi's managed to get him back in the team. Such a good player, this guy. Such a good player. He's also got he's got the most assists in the league from basically only playing half of a season.
Dembele has been, his story has been amazing this year. The club tried to force him out, pretty much said, we want you to go, please leave. And he wouldn't accept it. Xavi wanted to get him back in. And yeah, his numbers through the second half of the season have been just amazing. It's interesting, if you talk to Barca fans who maybe spend more time watching the games than checking FBref online, they're super frustrated with him. There's a feeling that he hogs possession. He always takes the wrong option. It's really weird. Also, they have a a preconceived notion of what's going to happen as well. So every time he shanks across wide, they go, well, that's because. And every time the ball lands at somebody's feet, they're like, he got lucky this time. So big decision coming for Barca on whether they're going to keep him or not this season. But he's been a very entertaining player to watch and to write about this season.
Just to say to Dermot, who's been very rude to me now, is that I have watched all these players on Wyscout thoroughly. I'm prepared. So is Maram, because you're going to tell me why Dembele stands out in a league of his own.
I will tell you why now.
Right.
So basically I have a scatter. It has assists per 90 and XA per 90. What's XA? It's basically expected assists.
Right.
Expected assists measure the quality of the pass. It's basically XG, but for an assist.
Right.
Makes sense? Okay.
So it shows you who the most creative or assisty people are.
Exactly. So you have Dembele in a league of his own. He's very, very far away from players like Lionel Messi, Mbappe, Mohamed Salah, all very good creators. Benzema too. So he's assisting above expectations, so he has the highest assists per 90, but he also has the highest expected assists per 90. So he's creating good chances and his teammates are finishing them off. It's quite simple.
I'm going to put Dembele in, Dermot.
It's hard to argue with that. Even having seen a lot of the games and having spoken to a lot of Barcelona people who get frustrated with him, I'm not going to argue.
Flexing again, right? Okay, so last player in their team of the season is obviously Karim Benzema. Very easy to sum this up. He's one of the best players in the world right now. 27 goals. He's the top scorer in the league. 12 assists. Second top assister. Dembele is the second. Well, Dembele is top. Benzema second. He's just been amazing. If you could pick a manager to go with this, who are you going to go with, Dermot?
Ooh, Ancelotti's done a great job. I might have said Lopetegui halfway through the season, but I definitely wouldn't say it now. Pellegrini at Betis has also done a fantastic job. To get those, we were talking about Canales and Fekir, to get two kind of playmakers like that into a midfield, also to have a team who's been solid, scored a lot of goals. People like Wami on our ex-Southampton, ex-Premier League, both have also done really well. So, I'll give it to Pellegrini. Ancelotti's done a really good job, and it's fair enough. But it's Real Madrid, so winning a Liga is always kind of on the cards. But Betis winning the trophy for the first time in ages and almost making the top four gets for Pellegrini, who's also an ex-Premier League manager.
And there we go. That's our team of the season. It's largely been formed by Dermot Corrigan. Thank you, Dermot. Thank you to FBref. And thank you to Maram.
Hi, thank you. When did I say hello? Bye-bye, actually.
Maram's going to say hi many more times. So that's it. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, please give the video a like. It really helps us out. And subscribe to the channel. That'd be great. And you'll see more of Dermot next season and during the summer probably. We'll see more of Maram. More of Maram. And I'll learn how to talk. Goodbye.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic brings you the best sports journalism in the world in a personalised experience, connecting you with the stories and teams that you care about the most. There's coverage of 13 sports, plus direct access to world-class journalists through live Q&As, discussions and podcasts. Not to mention, it's all ad-free. And you can try it now for free for 30 days by clicking the link in the description.